The story of Moses. Many years ago, in a land called Egypt, there lived a mean king. Egyptian kings were called pharaohs. The pharaoh made all the people of Israel living in Egypt work as slaves. They have to build the buildings and lift many heavy things. They had no time to rest and very little to eat. The Pharaoh was very cruel to them and was worried that the number of Israel people was increasing. He was afraid that if the number of Israel people started increasing, they would later rule over Egypt. One day, the Pharaoh decided that the firstborn sons of Israelites would be killed. This news of the Pharaoh spread to the whole of Egypt. People started looking for new ways to save their children. Jochebed, the mother of Moses, placed her child in a basket and took him to the banks of the river and let him float. Jochebed was crying and prayed to God, "God, please take care of my child." The daughter of the Pharaoh saw that there was a small child in the basket floating on the river, and there was no one around. The princess took pity on the lonely child. The princess picked up the basket and decided that she would raise the child. She named the child Moses, which means taken out of the river. Jochebed worked in the palace as a slave to keep a close eye on Moses and to teach him right from wrong. Moses was brought up as a prince, and he was given every comfort that is given to a prince. Many years later, Moses had grown up to be a strong young man. He had also come to know that he was an Israelite. Moses suffered greatly from the fact that the Egyptians persecuted the Israelites and kept them as slaves. One day, Moses saw that an Egyptian man was beating an Israelite slave. In anger, Moses killed the Egyptian man. Moses later realizes that he made a big mistake. He decided that he would leave the place and go somewhere. And he left Egypt and moved to another place so that he could save himself. After traveling for 40 days, Moses found himself in the land of Midian. In Midian, Moses got married and had a family. He lived in Midian so long that he almost forgot Egypt and about the poor Israelites. He remained there for about 40 years. Until one day, Moses was looking after a flock of sheep up in the hills. And it was there that he saw an amazing sight. God indicated his existence to him. Fire started burning on a tree in front of Moses. From there, the voice of God started echoing in Moses' ear. That voice was that of God. God said to Moses, "Moses, I have heard the call of my people in Egypt. They are all sad and tortured every day. I want you to go there and free them and take them to a place where milk and rivers of honey flow, where there are happiness and prosperity." Hearing God, Moses said, "God, I will do as you said. Tell the king of Egypt to free the people. If he does not listen to your first request, then spread your hands and show your miracles. I will always be with you." God said to Moses. Moses did what God told him. He walked towards Egypt. When he reached Egypt, he started convincing the Pharaoh to free the Israelites. Otherwise, God will curse the whole Egypt. But the Pharaoh did not listen to him. Because of that, Moses threw his stick in front of the Pharaoh, and the stick immediately turned into a snake. The snake was picked up by Moses, and it turned back into a stick. Seeing all this, the Pharaoh said to Moses, "What do you think I will do with this small magic? My sorcerer can also do this. I will never set your people free." Saying this, Pharaoh denies Moses' request. After this, Moses thought about what he would do. Moses then poured his stick into the river, after which the water of the river turned to blood, and all of the fishes and living beings in the river died. Once again, Pharaoh refused to free the people. Moses could not understand what he would do now. He prays to God, "Oh God, even after trying twice, I failed to do your work. Now you tell me what to do. God, show me the way." "Moses, my child, I will now wreak havoc in the whole Egypt," God told Moses. Soon after, a large number of frogs started coming in all over Egypt. Entire Egypt was full of frogs. Seeing all this, the Pharaoh got nervous and started saying to Moses, "Moses, I give up before your God. Remove these frogs from here. I will set your people free." Moses prayed to God, and in a few days, the number of frogs began to decrease. Now Pharaoh had to free the people, but the Pharaoh retracts his promise and he refuses to free the slaves. And the people remain imprisoned again. Now this time, there was an attack of grasshoppers in Egypt. Grasshoppers filled the entire Egypt. But Pharaoh did not change his decision. In compulsion, God has to show his wrath on Egypt again. This time, flies attacked in the whole entire Egypt. There were so many flies in the entire Egypt. After losing, the Pharaoh again goes to Moses and begs him to free Egypt from these flies. By doing this, the flies disappear from Egypt. But the Pharaoh again turns his back from his promise and refuses to free the people. After this, all the animals of Egypt started getting sick. Goats, camels, horses, etc. slowly start dying. Then the epidemic spreads throughout Egypt. People have to face terrible diseases. But the Pharaoh did not change his mind. Now God had understood that he would have to punish the Pharaoh hard. God says to Moses, "Moses, mark all the Israelites' homes. Today, I will take all the firstborn children who belong to the people of Egypt." Moses does what God told him to do. He marks in the house of people who belong to the Israelites. Death arrives at night and takes the children's soul with him, which includes the son of the Pharaoh. Now Pharaoh had given up completely. He decides that he will free the people and let them go. Pharaoh told Moses to leave, and they packed up that night and left Egypt. They were a lot of people and animals. God guided the people. During the day, Moses went in front of them in a pillar of cloud. During the night, he went in a pillar of fire to give them light. Pharaoh once again changed his mind. He now decided to go after the people. He wanted them to return to Egypt. The Israelites were really scared when they saw Pharaoh's army coming after them. But Moses said that God would fight for them. The cloud went between the Israelites and the Egyptians. The Egyptians couldn't follow at night because it was dark from the clouds, and the Israelites had light from the cloud. Moses stretched out his hand over the Red Sea, and God sent a very strong wind from the east. The water rose up and divided, and the Israelites walked across the Red Sea on dry land. There was a wall of water on each side of them as they crossed. All the Egyptians followed them, but God wanted to slow them down. God made their wheels stick and fall off, and they couldn't drive them. Moses stretched his hand back over the water, and the water went back down. The Red Sea covered all the Egyptians and their chariots. God saved the people again. They believed in God and trusted Moses to lead them.